Welcome back everyone to another Mythfall Devlog. If you're new to the channel, I'm building a browser-based bullet hell MMO from scratch in Golang and documenting the process along the way. This week I actually ran a poll to see what people wanted added to the game, and the thing that came back highest voted was to add event bosses to the sphere. So that's what I worked on doing this week, and along with that I also added an objective system and a few other things. So we'll hop into those and I will tell you about everything that I did. Alright, first up is the objective system. So now when you log in for the first time, and every time you log in I guess, you'll run around and you'll have these little orange squares that pop up on your mini-map, and if you hover over those it'll tell you what your current task is or your objective is. So right now it's to kill a cool crab, and I'll kill him and I'll get a little bit of bonus XP and stuff like that. So now it kind of like guides the player through the early game. Look at progressively more difficult monsters to fight and then tasks to do, and then as they level up, like for example if I give myself 3000 XP and I hit level 10 at this point now, and I kill my current task, then I'll get a new task, and we'll see where it gets placed. And then so then I get my next task, and it's to kill an iron golem. And so I can run up here and fight the iron golem, and that's my current task. Kill him, and then I get some loot and stuff like that. Then it'll recommend me a new task. In the olden days, how this would work is you would just stumble upon these kind of structures that existed in the sphere, and then you could fight them as you wanted. The problem with that, or another problem that I also had with it, was that these didn't respawn. So once, like if there's only 10 of these set pieces they're called in the game, then after all of those had gotten killed, nobody had anything to do. They would just have to go kill the smaller, weaker mobs like green slimes and stuff like that, which isn't as fun. Most people like killing the bosses and getting the dungeon drops from them and stuff like that. So I decided to make these respawning. So now as I go kill one of these guys, I'll try to show it on the mini-map, but once I kill him, a new area set piece will get spawned. So for example, the one just got spawned was down here, and that was this little ancient crab guy. And I defeat him, and another one gets spawned somewhere else. And I made quite a few of these different ones. Now there's pretty much 2 different set pieces per biome, except for the Twilight Forest, which only has 1 set piece. I just didn't have time to get it in, but yeah, that's where it is for now. I also updated the mini map so it's a little bit easier to read. Now it draws like the background of the tile map behind the overlay part, so I like that a lot more as well. One of the set pieces I added was this guy. He's called the Volcanic Guardian. He has a little lava, and you can kind of see the bubbles I drew that kind of pop around him. But he's got lava in his little set piece, so I wanted to add little swimming animation, so as you go into it, your character kind of falls down and then pops up. So there's a little swimming animation. This applies for water as well. Lava now, when you go into it, it gives you this burn status effect, so you'll start receiving damage over time. It's basically 5 damage every second, I think. Let's recall. We'll run up to the King's Garden, and I'll show you what it looks like to swim in water. All right, so then you just pop in the water and you kind of swim as well. So this looks a lot better than before. And how I accomplish this is I basically just drop the height of the player a little bit. I drop them by like 2 or 3 pixels, I believe. I stopped drawing the username because it kind of goes underwater, but and I stopped drawing the shadow. And then I draw this little square, this little blue square over top of his torso, just to hide like his feet. And it kind of looks like that. And there's a few visual artifacts. If you go to like certain edges, it's kind of hard to replicate because it's pretty well hidden, but you can cause some visual artifacts, like your sword will get clipped into the square. Like if you see that right there, your sword's getting clipped by the square that covers his torso. I think this isn't the best strategy for this sort of thing, but it works well enough, and it's not like it's a super noticeable feature because most of the time you're running from way zoomed out and you don't really care about, you're dodging bullets, so you're not really micro zooming to see your legs or anything like that. So that's that feature. And one of the other things I wanted to solve was the early game progression. A lot of people had trouble leveling up enough to tackle the next biome that they were looking to do, because right now you kind of go through the Sandy Shores biome, then you go to Gumbo Forest, and then you go to Enchanted Grove, and then you go to Oasis Sands. And every time you go up, the monsters deal more damage and they're a little bit more tanky, and they get more difficult, but you get better items and better loot and stuff like that. And then further at the top, you start getting these stat crystals, they're called, and those let you level up your stats past what you're able to achieve by hitting level 10. So you level 10, that's the max level, and you get these stat crystals to level up even further. But the stat crystals are located really far in the north, and they're very difficult biomes with very difficult boss fights. So to help people bridge that gap between the early game and the the later game, I decided to add these crystal shards that you can find, and you can find those by killing set piece bosses, and you can also find them by killing some of the lower level dungeons. Will also drop them. But these are the stat crystals that you can find to level up your stats, and these are the stat crystal shards you can find by those easier bosses, and that'll help you. Like once you collect 4 of these, you'll be able to craft the full stat crystal and like level up that stat by 1. So this will hopefully bridge that gap a little bit better for the newer players. But yeah, this was a 2-week patch, so it wasn't too much time, but it did add like 4 or 5 set piece bosses. So there's quite a lot of boss fights I had to design, which takes a lot of creative energy because you have to come up with like some new concept for every single one. Anyways, that's all I have for this week. As always, an absolutely massive thank you to all the supporters on YouTube, Twitch, GitHub, and Patreon. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.